Hello, hello, I'm Josue from LaEpoca, and you are watching Musicality Around the World. Today I'm in the state of Connecticut, just outside of New York City. This is where I grew up. This is where I was born and raised. It's been many years since I've been back here, and coming back here, it really brings me back to my childhood. It brings me back to my beginnings. And since we're talking about beginnings, today we're talking about Mambo. Have you ever asked yourself, who created the Mambo? What are the beginnings of Mambo? Have you ever done research on learning about the history of Mambo? If you are a dancer and you say that you love Mambo, how much about it do you know? Have you done research on it? I encourage self-education. I think it's very important. And if this is your first step, then it's my pleasure to take this journey with you. Today, I'm going to help you with that research, and I'm also going to introduce to you someone very special and someone very important when it comes to the beginnings of Mambo. Let's go take a look.
Take a look at the artist names on these albums. Okay? Benny Moré, Pérez Prado, Arsenio Rodriguez, Antonio Arcaño, and Israel Cachao Lopez. Any idea what all of them have in common? Take a good look. Any idea what all of these musicians, these artists, these masters have in common? Go online and type in this question. Who created the Mambo? Every single one of these musicians here is credited with being the originator of the Mambo. Many people believe that it was Benny Moré. Many more people believe that it was Pérez Prado because he titled himself as the king of the Mambo. Many contemporary, modern musicians and dancers from Cuba believe that Cachao and Antonio Arcaño created the Mambo together, or that Cachao created the Mambo with his brother Orestes. Quite interestingly enough, let's look at the back of this album with Arsenio. Of course, again, we have listed here the names of the rhythms next to the songs: bolero son, son montuno, son, danzón. But take a look at this paragraph right here. It says, Arsenio was one of the geniuses of folkloric music. It was he who created the son montuno and what is today called the mambo. At first, Arsenio called the mambo sound diablo, and it was later changed to mambo. Do you know who was interviewed for this? Israel Cachao Lopez and Lázaro Prieto. Now, Lázaro Prieto was a bassist. Israel Cachao Lopez was also a bassist. Now, here's a question for you. Why would Cachao give an interview talking about Arsenio being the originator of the mambo, and yet musicians and dancers today, who are far disconnected, still think that Cachao originated the mambo? Question B. Why would Arcaño allow himself to be on an album where it clearly states that Arsenio was the originator of the mambo, and yet musicians and dancers today still think that Antonio Arcaño and Cachao originated the mambo together? Does that make sense to you? Again, Cachao, Arsenio Rodriguez, Antonio Arcaño, Pérez Prado, and Benny Moré are all names that come up in internet searches about who created the mambo. But all you really need to do is do your research. I think it's very important that when you're doing research that you try to get to the original sources. And again, when we're talking about fusions, do you really respect the traditions and the roots, or do you just listen to a copy of a copy of a copy of an original, and you base your fusion on that copy of a copy of a copy?
As I mentioned before, I've got the perfect person for you today. Allow me to introduce a very special man in my life. He's my father. He's one of the last living legends of the Palladium era and a pioneer in his own right in Mambo, the Mambo rhythm. Alfonso Panamá.
Papá, querido papá. Well, could you talk a little bit about Mambo? For example, we were talking before, and you were talking about how Mambo allowed you freedom to do the things that you wanted to do. What does playing the Mambo give to you? What feelings? How does it make you feel?
Well, it was thrilling. It was always something exciting to me, depending on the musicians. Most of the times I played with very excellent musicians, but there were musicians that were not familiar with that Cuban tumbao, so it would be a struggle playing with those from other parts of Latin America. The tumbao sometimes made them get excited, especially when we get to the montuno and mambo section. And so they would get excited, I would get excited, and you could feel what you were doing. I felt what I was doing, I felt what the conga was doing, I felt what the bongo was doing, and the timbales, as well as the pianist. And so all of us were feeling what each other was doing, and we were looking also at the dancers to see how they were responding. And, you know, they always got excited also. So there was always an exchange going on between amongst the musicians, especially the rhythmic section, and there was an exchange going on between us and the dancers. So it was something that they responded to us, we responded to them. You could feel something going on, they could feel something going on, and so it would be very thrilling.
It is my sincere hope that this video has been educational for you, because I strongly encourage self-education. It's been my honor to walk this journey with you, and at the bottom of the screen you'll see an email address to where you can send in your questions, and I look forward to reading your questions. Once again, I'm Josue from LaEpoca, and you are watching Musicality Around the World. See you soon.